Welcome to Stories. Embracing the challenge. My office bet makeover. Dan had always been the easygoing guy in the office, someone who could roll with the punches, laugh at himself, and take a joke in stride. So when a casual conversation at lunch took a strange turn into a bet, he was quick to accept without really thinking through the consequences. The challenge. Spend an entire week dressed as a woman at work. The idea seemed harmless enough. Just another one of those goofy office dares. But as Monday loomed closer, the reality of the situation began to sink in. That weekend, Dan found himself standing in front of his closet, staring at the collection of button-down shirts, jeans, and slacks that made up his wardrobe. None of it would work. He felt a mixture of dread and curiosity bubbling up inside him. His colleague Lily, who had masterminded the whole bet, texted him Sunday afternoon with a simple message. "I'll take care of you. Don't worry." Sure enough, when Monday morning arrived, Lily was waiting for him in the office parking lot with a bag in hand. Inside were a floral blouse, a sleek black pencil skirt, sheer stockings, and to Dan's horror, a pair of black heels. "You'll need to shave your legs for this," she grinned, clearly enjoying herself. Dan had shaved his face that morning, which already felt like a strange departure from his usual routine, but this was going to take things to a whole new level. Reluctantly, he took the bag and slipped into the bathroom to change. His hands shook as he pulled on the stockings, their smooth texture foreign against his skin. The blouse felt soft and light, almost too delicate for his broad frame, but it fit surprisingly well. When he finally stepped into the heels, he wobbled, clutching the sink for balance. He took a deep breath and gave himself a once-over in the mirror. The image staring back was jarring. Dan, but not Dan. He wasn't just playing dress-up, this was a full transformation. When he emerged, the office erupted in cheers and laughter, but it wasn't mean-spirited. His colleagues, especially the women, seemed genuinely excited to see him embracing the bet. Lily and Sarah immediately took charge, offering him tips on how to walk, stand, and most importantly, survive in heels all day. The first few hours were rough. The pencil skirt restricted his movement, making it feel like he was learning to walk all over again. His legs, now smooth from his hasty shave that morning, tingled against the stockings. The heels were a whole other challenge. Every step was a delicate balance, and he could feel muscles in his legs that he hadn't known existed. Every time he moved, he was hyper-aware of the way the clothes fit, how the blouse billowed as he walked, and how the skirt clung to his hips. But with each passing minute, he started to adjust, and by lunchtime, he was moving with a little more confidence. At lunch, he found himself surrounded by co-workers, mostly women, who peppered him with questions. "How do you feel? Are the heels killing you yet? You look amazing." The attention was flattering, if a bit overwhelming. Sarah, always the fashion-forward one, pulled him aside and gave him an impromptu lesson on makeup. She showed him how to reapply lipstick after eating, how to powder his face to avoid looking shiny, and even taught him the art of a quick eyeliner fix. Dan, who had never thought twice about his appearance before, now found himself paying close attention to every little detail. As the week wore on, Dan's physical transformation became more than just about clothes. On Tuesday, Sarah convinced him to try a wig, a sleek brunette style with shoulder-length waves. At first, the idea of wearing a wig seemed like crossing some invisible line, but when he put it on, something clicked. The wig framed his face in a way that felt right. He studied himself in the mirror, barely recognizing the person staring back. The addition of the wig seemed to complete the look, softening his features and making him look less like a man in women's clothes and more like a woman. Lily, never one to do things halfway, took things up a notch on Wednesday. She brought in a full makeup kit and insisted on doing his makeup herself before the workday began. This time, it wasn't just about lipstick and powder. She applied foundation to smooth out his complexion, carefully contouring his face to give it a more feminine shape. She added a soft blush to his cheeks, darkened his eyebrows, and expertly applied mascara and eyeliner, making his blue eyes pop. When she was finished, Dan couldn't believe what he saw in the mirror. His face had transformed. It was still him, but softer, more delicate. He ran his fingers over his cheek, marveling at the smoothness of the foundation and the way his eyes looked bigger, brighter. By Thursday, Dan was slipping into his routine with ease. He had learned how to walk in heels without stumbling, and his posture had changed. His shoulders were back, his movements more graceful. The pencil skirt that had once felt confining now made him feel poised. His steps were measured, each one deliberate and balanced, as though he had been walking in heels his entire life. And the wig, which had once felt foreign, now felt like an extension of himself. He found himself playing with it absent-mindedly, tucking a strand of hair behind his ear, a gesture that had become second nature. Friday was a bold day. Dan arrived at the office in a red wrap dress that hugged his figure in all the right places. He had swapped out the black heels for a pair of nude pumps that Sarah had picked out for him. His makeup was flawless. He had applied it himself this time, having grown confident in his ability. As he walked into the office, the usual morning buzz of conversation fell silent for a moment before erupting in compliments. "You look incredible. I can't believe how well you're pulling this off." Dan couldn't help but smile. The transformation was complete, not just physically, but mentally. He no longer felt like he was putting on a costume. The clothes, the makeup, the wig, they had all become part of his identity, at least for the week. He felt a surge of confidence unlike anything he had experienced before. It wasn't just that he looked good, it was that he felt good. Throughout the day, Dan found himself reflecting on how much had changed in such a short time. His relationships with his co-workers had deepened, especially with the women. They had welcomed him into their world, shared their secrets, and taught him things he had never thought to ask about. Even the guys at the office, who had started out teasing him lightly, were now treating him with a newfound respect. They joked about how well he had adapted and how committed he was to the bet, but there was a genuine admiration in their tone. What surprised Dan the most was how he had come to enjoy the process of transformation. The routine of getting ready in the morning, picking out an outfit, applying makeup, slipping on heels, had become a ritual, something that gave him a sense of control and purpose. It was a far cry from the way he used to roll out of bed, throw on whatever was clean, and head to work without a second thought. By the end of the week, Dan was no longer just playing a role. He had stepped into a new version of himself, one that was more confident, more expressive, and more in tune with the world around him. The bet had started as a joke, but it had become something much deeper. It had opened his eyes to new possibilities, to the idea that identity wasn't fixed, but fluid, and that there was power in embracing the unfamiliar. On Monday, when Dan returned to the office in his usual clothes, he felt a pang of nostalgia for the week that had passed. But something had shifted. He wasn't the same Dan who had accepted the bet on a whim. He was more open, more self-aware, and more willing to explore who he could be. The experience had left an indelible mark, and as he walked through the office, he knew that the confidence and self-discovery he had gained would stay with him, long after the heels and skirts were put away. Thank you for joining us on another captivating journey through Zoe's stories. Remember to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a tale. Until next time, keep exploring, keep imagining, and keep believing in the magic of storytelling. See you in the next chapter.